Nick Rudder from McKees37.com. I'm excited to introduce the GritGuard Universal Pad Washer to McKees37.com. GritGuard, they're a family-owned company that proudly makes all their products in Ohio. They support the U.S. economy, and their products are innovative, and they've helped tremendous amounts of detailers and end users safely wash their car without scratching it thanks to the ingeniously designed GritGuard insert. Well, one of their most popular offerings is the Universal Pad Washer. If you've ever detailed a car, you know how expensive it can be once your collection of buffing and polishing pads starts to add up. Well, the GritGuard Universal Pad Washer allows you to wash and reuse your pads, extending the life, and it actually saves you money in the long run. So, how does it work? It's actually quite simple. It starts off with a traditional 5-gallon wash bucket, and you have this lid here that unscrews, and this actually is designed to keep you from getting splatter all over the place when you're using the unit. And then inside of here, we have this mechanism, and there's a small grit guard, like a grid, that you actually rub the machine, the buffing pad, across the surface while you're actually using it, and it's injecting cleaner as you pump it. This helps remove the spent polish and compound residue. And also too, when you're polishing your paint, you have spent product, you have clear coat on the pad, you have all these things that are going to inhibit the performance of the pad from doing a good job. So it's really important that you work clean, and that's what this pad washer does. Then you have a GritGuard insert that sits atop this pump mechanism, and all this comes out, and that happens every single time. And if it happens to you, make sure the spring goes this way. But you're not really going to take this out anyway. This is just a demo to show you how it works. So if you come on in closely, I can show you here how this works. You have this assembly here that sits in the bucket, and inside the bucket we're going to put warm water as well as some of our polishing pad rejuvenator. This is an all-natural citrus-based cleaner and degreaser that breaks up the compound and polish residue to help flush it out of the pads. So you fill this up with water, and then you pump the pad, and there's little holes here, and the cleaner is pumped through them into the buffing pad. This really helps inject the cleaner, therefore it breaks up the compound and polish residue so it can be safely washed away. And using the GritGuard Universal Pad Washer is really simple. All you do is you fill it up with water, and the instructions state that you want to fill it up to the height just above the GritGuard insert. So if you come here, I'll show you. I'm going to fill it with water here in a moment, and they say when you push down, the water level should be slightly higher than the GritGuard insert. So I'm going to fill it up, and just like that, the pad washer is now filled with water. If you come on in, I can show you exactly what I meant by the level of water. It's just above the GritGuard as I'm pushing down. And while you're here, you can see when you pump it up and down, it injects water or cleaning solution into your pad. And GritGuard suggests a couple different ways to use this. Number one, you can use just warm water in the actual pad washer itself. I really want to supercharge the pad cleaning ability, so I'm going to use a little bit of our pad rejuvenator. This is all natural citrus degreaser, doesn't take a whole lot, and this is just going to make the pads extra clean. Put some in there, and again, this is highly concentrated. It's all natural, really safe. Just gonna mix it around a little bit. And then I have right here one of our white Redline foam polishing pads, and as you can see, it has polish on it, and the pad should be white. Now it has the polish. If you were polishing a vehicle that had not been detailed in a couple of years, your pad is going to be brown or black from all the embedded dirt. And one of the reasons, like I mentioned earlier, it's so important to clean your pads frequently using a tool like this is because when you polish paint, you're removing clear coat, or if it's single stage, you're removing single stage paint, the actual color itself, and that gets built up on the pad, plus your spent abrasive powder, the solvents from the compound themselves. All of that is going to not work in your favor to produce a high gloss show car finish. So it's really important that you work clean. So I've got my dirty pad here, and let's pretend that I just polished the hood of this beautiful Cadillac CT5V Blackwing. And I need to grab my lid cover here. And what's really nice is they also have instructions on here as a reminder. That's pretty cool. And you can use it with the splash guard off, or you can put it in there with the splash guard on. It depends on what kind of machine you're using and how much room there is. I tend to use it with the splash guard off as I'm cleaning. And then you can put it on as you dry, but again, it just depends on the size of your tool and what works best. So I have the smaller grit insert on top of the grit guard, and that is actually going to agitate the pad as the machine is running to remove that spent compound and polish residue. So give it a few pumps. You come on in and take a look at this. And they recommend the lowest speed. You don't have to go on a high speed for this. You pump it up a little more, get some cleaner in there. All right, and that pad is clean. Look at that. It washed it white as snow. That's pretty cool. So that's step one. Step two is to remove this little guy that we actually use to clean the pad. Put the lid on, and there's an indication right here to put it in there. And this actually will dry the pad. So it's a very similar method, low speed. And this is going to help blow out any spent water that's left. And I'm putting a little bit of pressure down, but not much. It's not rocket science. And now, this pad is ready to be used on additional panels if I were to be detailing this Cadillac. So you can use this pad washer a couple different ways. What I like to do is, after doing a couple panels, or depending on the condition of the vehicle, if it's 10 years old and it's never been detailed, then well, after one panel, the pad's going to be heavily contaminated. Then I'll use the pad washer. Option B is you can just clean the pads with like a pad brush if the car is not too bad, if the paint's relatively new like this Cadillac. And then at the end of the day, clean your pads before allowing them to dry. And with the pad washer, you can use this with rotary polishers, dual action, long stroke, short stroke, force rotation, and everything in between. And I'll tell you, as you can see there, it works great. One more tip to use our polishing pad cleaner. If the paint is in really rough shape, or if it's an oxidized boat or an oxidized RV, what you can do is take some of the pad cleaner and spray the pad before you actually use it with a pad washer. Or if you don't want to use any cleaner inside the pad washer, you can just spray the pad with the pad cleaner, and then you can go to work. And then last but not least, Grit Guard, they're a company that tries to make things convenient for you. These guys are very hands-on. They don't release a product until it's absolutely perfect. It's really convenient to store because they include one of their Gamma Seal lids. So when you're all finished using it for the day, empty out the solution in your yard or your drain, wherever it is. This particular product is biodegradable, by the way. When you're all finished, take the Gamma Seal lid and you can store it, put it on there, and you are cleaned up. Put it in your garage, put it in the corner. You can stack your car wash bucket on top of it. However you want to organize it, they make it really simple and easy. Last but not least, you'll notice that I have our Carolina detailing cart. About 4 years ago, I hurt my lower back, and I had a newfound appreciation for working smart instead of hard. And this detailing cart is phenomenal, not just for washing your car, that way you're not constantly bending over to reload your wash bit, but also for tools like this because it fits perfectly in our Carolina detailing cart. I'm not bending over. Imagine if I didn't have this, I'd be on the ground like this, trying to clean my pads. And my chiropractor would not be very pleased with me. It's good for him because he'd earn more business, but for me it's not good. So work smart, not hard. If you want more information on the Grit Guard Universal Pad Washer, visit mckees37.com. If you like videos like this, give me a thumbs up, click subscribe, and take care, and God bless. Wow, this pad turned out great.